Hello and welcome to this Astranti pre-scene analysis video series. I'm Tom and I'm the OCS pre-scene tutor for the May and August 2021 sitting. So I'll be presenting these videos, and I've also produced the industry analysis document, this being the third industry analysis document that I've made. Alongside my role as part of the case study team at Astranti, I also produce a variety of study materials for the CIMA syllabus across all three levels, and my area of expertise is in the performance pillar. So now that I've introduced myself, let's now introduce the pre-scene analysis video series and what I'll be talking about there. So the video series will start with the pre-scene analysis video. So as part of this, I'll go through the pre-scene document section by section and picking out what I think are the key points, things that are interesting about the pre-scene company and how these might relate to what you could be asked about in your case study exam. Additionally, I'll be employing some models such as SWOT and PESTEL to help us analyse what position the fictional pre-scene company could occupy in the real-world industry. Additionally, I'll be talking about some of the key issues that come up time and time again in the case study exam, and therefore the things that you should really focus on revising. So in addition to providing guidance in terms of the key points and also the things that are likely to be examinable topics, I'll also just give you some general exam hints and tips to help you get the best chance of gaining top marks when it comes to exam time. So once we've gone through the pre-scene section by section and picked out all of these different things, I'll then perform a strategic analysis of the pre-scene company. So in this video, I'll be using the rational planning model. Now you don't need to know the details of how to use this model just yet. Instead, this is just something that I'll be using and I'll be going through in order to help you understand better the pre-scene company's strategy and where it's likely to be headed in the future. So when you come to sit the case study exam, you'll have a good idea of the pre-scene company's likely strategic direction. This will help you to contextualize the responses you give as your exam answers. After the strategic analysis video, I'll then be going through the top 10 issues video. So these will be the top 10 issues that we've identified that are most likely to be tested in the exam, given what we know about the real-world industry that the pre-scene company operates in, as well as the pre-scene company itself, based on the information we've been given in the pre-scene document. So going back to the pre-scene analysis video, which we'll be looking at in a moment, I'll quickly talk about how it works. So again, we'll be going through the pre-scene document section by section, a couple of pages at a time, so we'll make sure that we have covered everything and highlighted as far as possible all of the different key points. So as I progress, I'll be tackling each page as it comes. So as far as possible, I'll be assuming no prior knowledge. I'll just be giving my commentary as I run through the pre-scene. As far as possible, no prior conceptions about the company or the information given to us in that document. So in my opinion, the best way to use this pre-scene analysis video is to actually read each section before watching my analysis of that section. You can then compare your notes to mine and see if there's anything you potentially missed, but also if there's anything that you spotted that I didn't. So by doing this, you'll be able to get the maximum possible coverage of the pre-scene document, and by the end of this process, hopefully have a better insight into the company. Additionally, where relevant, I'll be giving my review of the pre-scene company's position. I'll be doing a SWOT or PESTEL analysis to do this, and this will help us to sum up what we've learned in the sections as we progress. And then, as I've mentioned, once we've gone through the pre-scene analysis, I'll then perform a full strategic analysis and look at the top 10 issues. This will help give you even more context about the pre-scene company to help you in your exam. So this is the video series, but what about the pre-scene itself? The key aim of the pre-scene document provided to you by CIMA is to help give you more context to the unseen material that you'll be given in the case study exam itself. So there'll be a lot of valuable information and key points to pick out to help you to guide your responses to the case study exam questions. However, the key word here is guide. That is to say, you should not pre-write anything based on the pre-scene. You shouldn't have pre-prepared case study exam responses. Instead, you need to deal with the tasks given to you in the exam by applying your knowledge of the CIMA syllabus and the pre-scene company in an ad hoc way. Hopefully, after watching this video series, you'll have a number of different ideas for the company, the direction it can head, and the analyses you might be asked to perform that you can build on in a relevant way during the exam. So in the exam, make sure to take the time to consider the task you've been given in the scenario that you've been given, and then you can slot in your pre-seen knowledge and your pre-seen analysis to help support whatever answer you are providing. So this brings us to the end of this introduction. So with this out the way, now let's take a look at the pre-seen document itself. Hello and welcome to this Astranti pre-seen analysis video series. So throughout these videos, we're going to be looking at the operational level case study pre-seen document for the May and August 2021 sittings. So throughout these videos, we'll be learning about the case study company, which is Acellerate, as we'll see, a car rental company. So as we go through, I'll be providing some commentary and some analysis and relating some of the things that come up in the pre-seen to the content of the CIMA syllabus at the operational level. Before we get into things, it is worth touching upon this COVID-19 statement that CIMA has provided us with at the very start of the document. So the COVID-19 statement tells us that the pre-seen and the case study exam in general are set in a context where the COVID-19 pandemic has not had an impact. Therefore, in most cases, you might find it useful to assume that there are no restrictions to the movement of people, goods or services as a consequence of this ongoing pandemic. However, answers that do make relevant references to the pandemic or the social distancing involved in that pandemic will be marked on their merits. So you won't necessarily receive 0 marks for making reference to COVID-19. However, in general, you should, as far as possible, assume that this pandemic has not had an impact. So this is why, as I go through the document, I won't be touching upon COVID-19. So COVID-19 aside, let's now take a quick look at the contents page to see what we'll be looking at in this pre-seen document. So alongside the contents page that we've been provided with, I've given a note of some numbers, and these numbers are the numbers of the video in this video series that relate to each section given. So that is, in our first video, we'll be looking at the job and role outline in page 2 of the pre-seen. And next, we'll be looking at the first part of the company information section, which covers pages 3 to 13. So as this is a long 10-page section, this will be covered in multiple videos. That is, we'll also be looking at parts of the company information section in videos 2 and 3. After that, in our fourth video, we'll be looking at the industry analysis given on pages 14 and 15, some brief extracts from the company website on page 16, and also the 2 fictional news articles given at the very end of the pre-seen. After video 4, in videos 5 and 6, we'll be breaking down the company's financial statements, its budget and costing information, and also the tax regime in Everland, where the fictional company Acellerate is based. So these will be pages 18 through to 28. So quickly scrolling down, we can see that the 2 internet news articles, to own or not to own, and keeping connected, are the last 2 things given to us in the document on pages 29 and 30, and will be covered in video 4 as part of the... So that's the overall outline of the pre-seen document, so let's dive right in, starting at the very beginning with the job and role outline on page 2. Now on the surface, this seems like a very brief, potentially inconsequential paragraph. However, if you skipped over it in your own revision, in your own look at the pre-seen, I'd actually advise you to go back and take a closer look. The reason being is that it gives us some guidance as to the exam requirements. So what these exam requirements actually are not only being asked about your knowledge of the E1, P1 and F1 syllabuses, but also your ability to apply the knowledge that you've gained through your revision of these syllabuses to a real-world context. In this case, the real-world car rental industry and also the fictional company Acellerate that operates within it. To do this, CIMA will be placing you within Acellerate. You'll hold a role in this fictional company and consider some real-life related scenarios and how you'd respond to them in a manner similar to a real-life accountant in the real-world workplace. And this will test your application of the theory that you've learned. And this is what we're told in the very first line. Specifically, your role title is a finance officer. You're working for Acellerate, which is a car rental company, as I've already mentioned. So what actually is a finance officer and where do they sit in an organisational structure? So speaking in general, we have the finance officer, and this is you, reporting directly to the finance manager above you, who in turn reports to the finance director above them, who in turn reports to the managing director of the company, who sits at the very top. So as we can see in your role as the finance officer for the fictional company, you will be at the bottom rung of the organisational hierarchy. So what might this mean in the context of your exam? Well, it means that you'll be having an operational level focus, again, as somebody operating in a role at the lower rungs of the organisational hierarchy. So as part of this operational level focus, you will be compiling information, financial and management accounting information specifically, and also providing some analysis to assist people who sit above you in the organisational hierarchy with their more long-term decision making. Those people being the finance manager, the finance director, and the managing director, in terms of people directly above you, but also other people within the company who might want this information as well. These people too will also be at higher operational levels. So another key thing to remember is that when you do provide your analysis, you will have a short-term focus. So bear this in mind when writing your answers during the exam. Additionally, when compiling this information for the people higher up in the organisation, this is your chance in the exam context to demonstrate your knowledge of the CIMA syllabus. That is your business knowledge from E1, your management accounting knowledge from P1, and finally your financial accounting knowledge from F1. And then applying this to the fictional Acellerate related scenarios given to you in your exam. So let's go back to the job and role outline paragraph to hear a bit more about what this may involve. So we're told that your main role is to support a person called Ethan Tennant, who is the finance manager, which, going back to the generic structure I've written down below, we can see that this finance manager, Ethan Tennant, is the person directly above you in the organisational hierarchy. In terms of your specific tasks, working as a finance officer for this company, you will be preparing the annual budget, producing the monthly management accounts, and providing information to management as required. You also assist with the preparation of financial statements and deal with any queries regarding financial reporting. So this is quite a broad set of responsibilities, so let's stop for a moment and consider how this might apply to the content of the CIMA syllabus in relation to your case study exam. Well, to help us to do this, we can consider CIMA's key learning outcomes, also known as core activities. So I'll use a colour code of green, purple and teal to refer to the P1, E1 and F1 syllabuses to give you a bit of a visual indication as to what you can expect in terms of a rough breakdown of the content of your operational level case study exam. So in terms of the key learning outcomes or core activities themselves, what do each of these consist of and roughly how much will they contribute towards the overall exam content? Well, let's start by looking at key learning outcomes A and B. So as a rough estimate, key learning outcome A will make up 12 to 18% of the exam content, meanwhile B between 17 and 25%. I've highlighted them in green to indicate that these key learning outcomes come from the P1 syllabus. So in terms of what exactly they involve, core activity A is focused mostly around costing, meanwhile B on budgeting. So as we can see, already a decent chunk of the exam you can expect to come from P1, and so it's vital that you brush up on your P1 knowledge, making sure that it's nice and strong in time for the exam. Moving on to key learning outcomes C and E, we can see that C will constitute roughly between 17 and 25% of the exam content, meanwhile E, again the same figure, 17 to 25%. From the highlight colours, we can see that these key learning outcomes draw upon both the P1 and E1 syllabuses. Outcome C will be concerned with the analysis of company performance based on both financial and non-financial information. Meanwhile, learning outcome E involves the preparation of information to assist management with decision making. And as we've already noted, there is a short-term focus when it comes to the analysis that you will be conducting. So returning to the information given to us in the pre-scene, in the job and role outline paragraph, we're told that your tasks will include preparation of the annual budget, producing the monthly management accounts, and providing information to management as required. So returning back to the key learning outcomes we've looked at thus far, we can see how it matches very well to the information given to us in the pre-scene. Now, so far we haven't touched upon the F1 syllabus. However, the job and role outline given to us in the pre-scene does seem to indicate that you will have financial accounting responsibilities. And something that will play into this is helping with the management of working capital. And this is what's covered in the key learning outcome F, which you can expect to take up between 7 and 13% of the exam content. So because key learning outcome F is so focused on the management of working capital, this makes it a key area of the F1 syllabus and very likely to come up in the exam in some form. So this just leaves key learning outcome D. Learning outcome D2 is taken from the F1 syllabus, and therefore I've highlighted it again in teal. So we can expect key learning outcome D to make up between 12 and 18% of the exam's content, roughly speaking. Specifically, this key learning outcome covers the application of the relevant financial reporting standards, ethical and taxation principles, as well as governance. So returning back to the final sentence of the job and role outline given to us in the pre-scene document, we're told that you can also assist with the preparation of the financial statements and deal with any queries regarding financial reporting, which ties most closely in with key learning outcome D, and therefore these aspects too of F1 are again something that is vital to brush up on ahead of your exam. So from the highlighting colours, it should therefore be clear that P1 is going to make up a decent chunk of your exam, or rather is very likely to, but at the same time you can't afford to neglect revision of F1 and E1 either. Now, in terms of your familiarity with the core activities that I've just described, these are actually covered in a separate study text, so I won't be going into the details of these key learning outcomes here. However, don't worry, they are all covered in the study text, so if you feel unsure about any of these topics or any of these concepts, then that'll be definitely a good resource for you to use. Additionally, if you're unfamiliar with the way that the operational level case study exam is going to be marked, then there is also practical information about this in the study text as well. So again, not something that I'll be covering here, but it will be something that is covered elsewhere in this study text. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you found it useful. I'd just like to take a moment to talk about some of the different case study products we offer here at Astranti. All of these products are available together as a package as part of our case study course. However, they can also be purchased individually. So we have our exam technique series, which comprises both a study text and a video series. So in this product, we'll teach you how to plan your answers, analyse the case study material, and manage your time in the exam. So all of these are vital skills that you need to have to make sure you don't miss out on any marks. We also have our theory revision series, which again is both a study text and a series of videos. So these talk about specific theories relevant to your case study exam. These are all topics that are frequently tested, and so this part of our course is directly tailored to the exams that you will be sitting. Additionally, we have our pre-scene analysis. So as part of this, there will be a video that goes through the pre-scene document point by point to discuss the most important aspects that you need to know ahead of your exam. Additionally, there will be a video that will talk about the top 10 most likely unseen issues that are likely to come up in the exam. Plus, we have the strategic analysis video. This will be talking about the key models taken from the CIMA syllabus and then discuss how they apply directly to the case study that you will be looking at. We also have our industry analysis, a comprehensive document that looks at the different aspects of the real-world industry that the case study company operates within. So this will give you everything from an overview of the history of the industry to any issues relating to corporate social responsibility and protecting the environment, analysis of real-world competitors to the case study company, and overall trends in that industry. It will also provide 25 real-world industry issues that can be used as examples in the exam. In addition to this document, there is also an accompanying video. We also provide mock exams, which are based on past case study exams, and also based on the exact case study that you will be tested on. Therefore, they are designed to be as close as we possibly can get them to the actual exam you will be sitting. We also offer marking and feedback. So if you purchase this, you'll get a tutor to go through your exam script, tell you if you would have passed your exam, and also tell you what you could have done better going forward. You'll also get comments on your exam technique, so all the different things to help you get as prepared as possible for sitting the real thing. We also offer question packs, so if you'd like to practice a specific part of the CIMA syllabus, you can look at a question pack directly tailored to that area, so you can get that vital practice in ahead of your exam. We also offer 2 all-day masterclasses, one at the start of the course and one at the end. So the first one will be covering how to plan effectively ahead of your exam. Then the second is a revision masterclass, which will be going through all the material that you've been learning throughout your studies to give you a nice refresher before sitting that exam. So head over to www.astranti.com for more information about all of these case study products. Until then, I'd like to take the chance to wish you all the best of luck for your case study exam.